Hey guys, here today with a little bit different unboxing. What we have here today is a Lowrance unit. This particular unit is the Elite 7 Chirp. Now these are the newer units that Lowrance has put out. Previously you had your Elite series, which you had they have a 3-inch, 4-inch, 5-inch, 7-inch, and they've recently installed a 9-inch version of this. Before, however, they did not have the Chirp technology. With most of these units, well actually with all of these units, you did get your standard sonar and then your down imaging as well. Now with the higher end Lowrance products, to have that down imaging feature, you had to have some extra transducers to go with the other units in order to have that. With these units, they're built in. That being said, these do have a little bit slower processors in them. They don't have the mapping features that Lowrance's other units have, but these are considerably cheaper than your other touch units and things like that. So the big question is, a lot of people are asking is this Chirp technology worth it? The reason I actually have this Chirp is because my regular Elite 7, the power on it began going off as I was making runs in the boat, and I could not figure out why. I changed units, that all the other units worked, so I sent it back to Lowrance, waited a while, and since they have discontinued the older Elite series, they went ahead and sent me the Chirp. So I actually do have an Elite 7 Chirp on the front of my boat right now. And before I would have told you no, don't pay the extra money for it, but after my last 2 or 3 outings with the Chirp, I've been in a dry spell of fishing. Well, that Chirp made a huge difference as to what I was looking at and what I was seeing. There's a big separation in your standard down imaging and sonar than Chirp. I'm not 100% how it works, but I'm pretty sure it sends down 2 successive waves from the bottom and bounces back instead of just your standard one that's going down. So what this does is kind of give you better separation of what you're seeing down there. My example that I used in order to catch a fish was, normally I'll see bait balls down in the lake, and which if you're familiar with units, they just kind of they appear as a little just a blob on your screen. And then a lot of people know that bass will sit under them. On the old unit, it was very hard for me to differentiate whether there was any kind of fish under them or not. Or, I was just kind of blind casting out there to hope there was something under there. I didn't know if there was rocks or whatever. But with the Chirp, I 100% can tell if there's a fish coming up off the bottom, sitting under that bait. I can better tell what kind of fish I'm looking at now, because it kind of separates them and gives you more detail with them. So with this particular incident, I saw the bait ball, I saw the fish under there. I backed off the fish, threw out a deep cranked it under that bait ball, and picked up the bass. And that's what sold me on it, was just that separation and being able to see the difference. So anyways, we'll go ahead and get into this unboxing real fast and see what we have in here. So on the front here, we'll go ahead and show you. It just shows your unit. This particular unit does have GPS mapping. You can get it with just the sonar and the down imaging, or you can have the mapping as well. Since mine did have the mapping, they sent me one with mapping. There are really 3 different versions of each particular unit. With the Elite 7, since this does have down imaging, it does require a transducer that does down imaging. So you can buy this. This is the base unit with no transducer, since I already had my transducer for my last one. So they just sent me a base unit with no transducer. You can buy it that way, which is the cheapest option. However, you're going to have to pony up to $70 to I think about $100 for that down imaging transducer. You can buy these with just your 83-200 standard transducer. That will not provide you with down imaging on these. They're a cheaper transducer than the down imaging transducer, but like I said, the whole point in these is that down imaging. So if you're not getting that, then I don't really see the point in buying that. So you're going to want to step up and get the down imaging transducer with it. Again, 83-200 is standard, and I want to say I don't recall the frequency on the HDI, but I know you want to have 455. You want to see that on the transducer because that's what gives you your down imaging. If you see a transducer and it doesn't have the 455 anywhere on it, don't mess with it because that's not the down imaging. If it just says 83200, that's your standard transducer, and I'll show you in a moment the difference between both of them. So let's go ahead and get in here. So as we open up the box here, the first thing we have is our unit. It is wrapped in plastic. This is the way all the units come, whether you buy the 3 or the 9. They come in the little foam holders on the side, and then your unit wrapped in plastic. But we'll come back to this. So next in here, you have your little cover. Generally, your power cable and transducer are going to be under here. Again, I did not get a transducer with this one. So we have our power cable. Standard power cable works for the HDS line and all that. I think pretty much everyone is interchangeable as far as power cables go now. It does include a gimbal bracket with it. Gimbal brackets only come with the 7 and 9. If you buy the 5, it comes with a little round base bracket that goes into the back side of the actual unit. But like I said, the 7 and the 9 will come with a gimbal bracket that you can move around and adjust. So there's that. Of course, it's going to come with the actual knobs there to go in the gimbal to screw in and mount and tighten up that unit so that it's not flopping around everywhere when you're making a run on your boat or if you're in rough water in your kayak. It comes with screws to mount it. It also comes this here. This is a fuse to put on there between your power cable. You'll run it from your red power cable here to your power in between, and you're going to run the fuse in between just in case something blows up on there. With my particular way I have mine set up, mine already runs through my main power fuse, through my main fuse box on my boat, so this isn't really necessary for me. However, if you're running in at the front of your boat and there's not a, you're running it straight to your battery, you're going to want this fuse box. And again, it has the mounting stuff in there as well. And then lastly, you just have your forms and all that. It kind of tells you how to run over it and go through it. Your warranty, kind of your standard stuff with anything like that. So, getting in here to the unit, we'll remove our sides here, and then go ahead and we'll pull off this plastic. And here we have our Lowrance Elite 7 unit with our Chirp Technology. So Lowrance is pretty basic as to how to use them. They're a little bit more complicated than Hummingbirds. I've used Hummingbird and those are really simple. However, I feel like you get a few more options with the Lowrance. So with the Elite series, on most of them they do come with this little cover here where you can insert a map card with your GPS units. Now if you don't have a GPS, if you don't have the GPS feature built into your unit, that's not going to be there. You have no need for that. It's just going to be it's going to look almost exactly like that. However, this is not going to lift up. So again, these do read map cards. I do have a map card in mine that I have on my console. They're pretty nifty, but they are kind of expensive. They can run you anywhere from $100 to $200 for one of them. Right now, Lowrance is doing a rebate that if you buy any of their Elite Chirp units, they have to be Chirp. All you have to do is send in the rebate form, your original receipt, and on the top of your box here, you have your little barcode. If you send that in, they will send you one of their maps for free. So that's a pretty good deal. Theirs run about $100, so just to send that in, you get a free unit, but that will only run through, I believe it was November of 2015. So anyways, what we have up here at first is our Pages button. What this allows, and I'll go over this in a moment, I'll power it up and show you. You have your Pages button. This allows you to switch between the different types that you want to use, whether you want to switch between GPS, just your standard sonar, or your down imaging, and again I'll explain that. Here you have your zoom and unzoom buttons. Of course, it's just your standard D-pad to kind of get you around and move you around. Your menu button, which brings, of course, your menus up, and then your enter button, which lets you confirm everything. And of course, you have your light and power button here. On the back side here, you can see here, this is where your gimbal mounts, and then the screw goes inside there. Here is your power cable adapter, and this is for your sonar. Again, all standard. And over here you have your NMEA. This is for networking. You can network Elite units together only if they have this. I think it's just a 7 and a 9. My 5 does not have this networking feature. So the 7 and the 9s, those are the ones that are going to have that feature. You do have to buy extra cables to do that. I don't think I'll be doing that with mine. It doesn't really seem necessary to me. But yeah, it's kind of if you just want to share waypoints between your front and back units. But again, I don't have much need for that. I want to show you the differences between the transducers that you can buy with it. This here is on the unit that I have for my bow. This is your standard 83200 transducer. It's a small puck transducer. It, like I said, it just does your standard sonar imaging. I already had the down imaging on there, so I had no need for this, so I just kind of have it laying around just in case I need a spare transducer for whatever reason. Now the HDI down imaging transducer, and this one's for the one for my kayak, so bear with me, it's still on the mount. This one's a lot bigger, as you can see here. Much bigger. Still your puck top transducer, but it's a lot bigger. So if you're in-store purchasing one, the bigger one is going to be the one you want. The smaller one again is your 83200. They both mount the exact same way. They have their little grooves here, and generally the unit will come with a mounting bracket. Mine did not, again, because I already had everything. So it's not going to give you a mounting bracket for your transducer if you don't have a transducer. But again, most people are going to buy the unit with transducers. But to reiterate one last time, this is kind of worthless for these units. I mean, it will provide you with your standard sonar, but you can get standard sonar on a $200 unit. The HDI transducer is the one you need in order to take full advantage of these Elite units.